Welcome everyone. So today we are going to start object-oriented programming with respect to ABAP. Okay. So before going to all the theories and all, so today we are going to discuss how you can create a class locally and you can use it in your own program. Okay. And we will see different type of variables that can be declared and different type of methods that can be declared in a class. Okay, and today we are going to discuss about the visibility sections in a class as well. Okay, so without further delay, let's start. Okay, let's consider you are a developer for an airline corporation that owns several airline carriers. Okay, you need to develop an object oriented program that can manage airline carriers and their airlines. Okay, so here you need to define a class which have below attributes. Okay, mv underscore name, mv underscore plane type of airplane, and gv airplanes, the number of planes. Okay, so mv underscore name, it is a private instance attribute. Okay, and third one also private instance attribute, and this one also private static attribute. So if you see this, there are two kind of attributes. One is static and one is instance attribute. Okay, and all these attributes are private attributes. Okay, apart from that, the class should have methods such as set attributes and display attributes. Okay, and display number of airplanes. So these are the three methods should be there in the class. Okay, now so you all know how to create a report program, right? So you need to use the transaction AC38, give a name of your program. So I have given this BC40111 main, and I have created the report program. Okay, so to create a class you must use class LCL. So this is LC underscore airplane, that means it is a local class which is visible only in this program because the class has been defined inside this program. Okay, so if you are going to access this class in another program, then you cannot access it. So that is the reason it is called as local class LC. Now we have defined methods of this class. Okay, so we have discussed that there are few visibility sections in a class as well, right? Public, protected, and then private. Okay, these are the three visibility sections in a class. And then type of attributes or methods. Okay, so the class has three visibility sections. One is public, second protected, third is private. Okay, and there are two types of attributes and two types of methods. So static attribute and instance attribute, static method and instance method. Okay, so what is the difference between static and instance, we will see in this program. Okay, so everyone is I hope all are clear with this. Okay, now go back to our program. So under the public sections we have defined the methods. Okay, and under the private section we have defined the data. So in a program, when you have created a normal program, first section was data declarations, right? So in the class also, under private section we have declared all our data like constants data, and this is class data, right? And similarly under public section we have defined the methods. Okay, and we have defined this instance attribute and instance method, static attribute and static method. So if you see this under public section, the set attribute is a method, and display attribute is another method, and display underscore n underscore airplanes, that is a third method. Okay, but these two methods have declared under the keyword methods, but this method has been declared under the keyword class hyphen methods. Okay, that means these two methods are instance methods, and this method is a class method. That means this method is a static method. Similarly, these attributes are declared directly using data statements or constant statements. Okay, so these are like instance attributes, and this variable gv underscore n underscore o airplane type I has been declared using the keyword class hyphen data. That means this is a static attribute. Okay, so now you all understood how to declare the static attribute and instance attribute, or static attribute, or a static method or instance method, right? So this part is the definition. Okay, now let's go and implement this class. Okay, the syntax is same. Set attribute, so if you see this implementation section, under the implementation there is no visibility section. That means there is no public private protected section, and there is no class data or class methods, something like that. Okay, so everything has been, so all the methods are like method, all the methods are implemented with the keyword method and ended with the end method. Okay, now set attributes. So here, so if you see this set attributes method is importing iv name and iv plain type. Okay, so here I have assigned this mv name and mv plain type using those two importing parameters. Okay, mv name and mv plain type is private attributes of the class. Okay, similarly display attributes. So under this display attribute method, you need to display all the attributes of that class. Okay, now again implement this. Okay, so this is how you have defined a class LCL airplane and defined its methods and attributes, and you have implemented this local class. Okay, now going to next to create object of this class. Okay, so this is your program, right? So till line number 54 you have, so all the lines are for class definition and class implementation. Okay, So here this go object airplane is of type LCL airplane. Okay, that means this data type is of type class airplane. Okay, similarly this gt underscore airplanes internal table is internal table of type class LCL airplane. Okay, now as usual your data declaration section is done. Okay, now startup selection, create object, go underscore airplane, right? So here you have used the keywords create object, then this is the type of LCL airplane, right? Airplane. So you have created this go underscore airplane, and then you are appending this airplane to GT airplane. So once you have created this object, using create object go airplane. So this go airplane is object of class LCL airplane. Okay, that means create object is instantiated the class LCL airplane to go underscore airplane. Okay, so this is called the instantiation of a class. That means when you create an object with respect to a class, it is called as instantiation of a class. Okay, so here we have created 3 times the go underscore airplane object, and we have appended this object to gt underscore airplanes, which is of type internal table, and this internal table can have multiple rows or multiple classes. Okay, now next is what we will call this implemented method of these classes. Okay, let's add a variable count as well, gv count type I. Okay, now let's call the static method of the class. Okay, if you see we are calling this display number of airplanes method before creating the object go underscore airplane. Okay, and this method we are calling using the class name. Okay, so that means this LCL underscore airplane, this is the class name, then this arrow display number of airplanes method. As this method is a static method, we are able to call this method using the class name. Okay, and we don't need to create an object of the class to call this method. Okay, so that is one advantage of static method call. Okay, So first, LCL underscore airplane display number of airplanes. So it will display how many airplanes are there. Okay. After that, you are creating object go airplane. That means you have created one airplane and you have appended this go airplane to GT underscore airplanes. Okay. Now set the attributes for go underscore airplane. Okay. Similarly, set this attribute for other two objects as well. So the second object will have a different plane. So let's put it. And similarly, for third object also provide some different values. Okay. So here, how you can display all the three objects which are assigned to this internal table GT underscore airplane. So loop. So this will skip two lines. So first you will check. So how many airplanes are there? Okay. So let's put a break. No need to put a breakpoint. Okay. So there is a double T in the parameters, so the name should match. Okay, display n underscore o airplanes. Okay, so when the, so you can see this output. So when the display number of, the static method display number of airplanes called, it has 0 entries. Okay, after that we have called one append. So we have appended this geo object, geo underscore airplane to gt underscore airplane, and then we have set attributes, right? Similarly, we have done 3 times for 3 different airports and flight types. Okay, and then we were doing this loop. So here we were doing this loop, and this loop will run 3 times because we have appended 3 objects, that is geo underscore airplane to gt underscore airplanes. Okay, so this loop will run 3 times, and each loop run, this geo underscore airplane object will be used to display the attributes. Okay, so display attributes method is being called for geo underscore airplane object, and this is a instant method, so that is why you need to use this object name. Okay, so 3 times it is displaying this attributes, and then at the end the static method is being called as display number of airplanes. Okay, now before doing that, let's put a breakpoint here and see the execution flow. Okay, see, so first this LCL airplane display number of airplanes will be executed, right? So press F5, so it will go to display underscore n underscore airplane. Okay, so if you see, this is the implementation section. Okay, so it comes to display underscore n underscore o airplane, right? So gv number of airplanes is 0, right? So the first line, the output would be 0. Now you are creating this geo underscore airplane object. Then so gt airplanes, this internal table has 0 records. You have appended one class. See, this is a class. Okay, so if you double click this mv name and mv plane type, so all the attributes, they have empty. Okay, now you are calling this instance method set attributes. Okay, now you check the entries. See, this plane type, plane name LS Berlin, plane type A321, and number of airplanes that has been assigned, right? Similarly, for the next object also, so here I am pressing F5, how the attributes are being set. Okay, see, this name and the plane type also been assigned to MV name and MV plane type, and this number of airplanes also has been changed to 2. Okay, now go airplane display attributes. Okay, when it is going to display attributes, you can see name of airplane. Why? Because when you run this loop, geo airplane also has been assigned to a different object, right? So now go to loop and see the attributes of go underscore airplane. So this is the object. Okay, this is the object and class is LCL airplane. See now display underscore n underscore airplane is calling the this value. This is the private static attribute, right? In the class definition it is being displayed, it is being written in the output. Okay, now you can see this output. So now you all must be clear about what is a static attribute, what is a static method, and the objects how the objects can be created, and how you can call the methods of the objects, right? So today we have covered one, how to create a local class, define and implement a class, then how to create an object, how to call static method and instance methods of a class. Okay, so next we will see how to create a constructor. Are you all ready? Yes, let's see how to create a constructor of a class. Okay, or let's understand what is a constructor. So constructors are special type of methods of a class. Okay, whenever you call a method or access any attributes of a class, the constructor method will be automatically triggered. Okay, this is the first method of a class to be executed, and this execution happens automatically whenever you are accessing any attributes of a class. Okay, so we will see constructor today. Okay, so instead of the set attributes, let's change this name to constructor. Okay, so this is a constructor method, right? Then display attributes, class method display number of airplanes. Here let's declare another method, get n underscore o underscore airplanes. So here we are using this returning parameter. Okay, then accordingly in the private section declare the data types as well. Okay, now instead of this set attributes, okay, constructor, now we are going to create object of go airplane. Okay, so in that case, as we have defined a constructor, okay, so the same parameter you need to pass over here. Okay, and this set attributes method is not required now. Okay, instead of this, So this method we have added, but we have not implemented that one. Okay, so let's implement that one. Same method, get n underscore o underscore airplanes. Okay, so here what is the difference between the previous program? So the difference is, in create object only we are passing this parameters. Why? Because we have created a constructor, and this constructor method will automatically be called whenever you are creating the object or you are accessing anything first. Okay, whenever you are accessing anything from a class, this constructor object will be created. Okay, so here in the create object only we are passing all the parameters. So we are not calling a separate method like set attributes to pass on the parameter values. Okay, and we have created one more method called as get underscore n underscore o airplane returning value rv count type I. Okay, so if you see this method has only one parameter, and that is a returning parameter. Okay, so that is, and the returning parameter, this rv count, is of type I. Okay, similarly if you see this, we have declared this gv underscore count, a variable type I, and as this method is a has a returning parameter, and the returning parameter, only one parameter can be passed, so we can directly using gv underscore count equal to lcl airplane. This is the static method. Okay, so lcl airplane and the static method call symbol get no airplanes. Okay, so whatever this rv count will be directly passed to gv count, and here we are writing this gv count, right? So there is no syntax error. Let's activate it and execute. You can see the same output, right? So now you understand what is a constructor, what is a method, what is a instance method, what is a static method, and what is a method with returning parameter. Okay, and this constructor also can be class constructor or static constructor, second instance constructor. Okay, so that's all for today's session. In our next session we will discuss the concepts of inheritance. Okay, so whatever we have covered today is your complete overview of object oriented programming, because you have discussed this visibility section, type of attributes and methods, constructor of a class, and how to create a class, how to define a class, and how to implement a class, and how, more importantly, how you how you can call different methods and assign the values to the attributes of a class. Okay, so how you have assigned this attributes value to attributes of a class using the set attributes method or using the constructor method, right? So that's all for today. See you all in next session. Till then, bye, take care. And today I have a request to you, all of you. So if you are liking this session, please subscribe and share with your friends. Okay, bye.